Hey everyone, welcome back to my Loom kitchen, and today I'll be showing you how to make this mini Loom mimosas, or without the garnish and a change of color, these will be mini Loom champagne flutes. This is really quick and easy to make. Click on the link below this video. It'll take you to the recipe page where I listed down the number of bands needed for this creation as well as all the colors I used. So check that out, come back, and let's begin. So I'm going to start by showing you how to make the mini orange wedge or a lime wedge. So you're going to need your loom. We're going to use 3 rows, and if you could line your pegs up straight. We're just going to use the top portion. So you take a single band. I'm making an orange wedge. Go down twice on the first row. The second row from this peg down to here. And for the third row, from this peg stretched all the way here. Then go down, single band across that center, and then the last row, one band from this peg to the center, and from the center to this peg. Now a single band, wrap it around this peg twice to cap it off. Now you take your hook, put it through this put it through the cap band on this last peg, pick up the topmost band, loop it onto itself. Now you go second row, hook in, pick up the topmost, loop it onto itself. Now we go to the first row, hook in, pick up the lowest band, loop it onto itself, hook in, push back those upper bands, lowest band, and loop it onto itself on the last peg. Now let's do the second row, same thing. And the third row, loop it onto itself. On this last peg, hook through, pick up the lowest band, stretch it out to that last peg on top. Now remove all the bands off the other pegs. Now put your hook through that last peg, and if you can use a clear band or whatever band you're using for your glass rim, just hook it through, don't tie it off, just place it through, and you have your mini wedge. Now you're just gonna set that aside for later. The next garnish I'm going to show you how to make is my mini strawberry, or it could be a mini cherry. You could just have the cherry alone without the green top, and that's just simply taking your hook and getting 3 bands and just wrapping it once. If you want it bigger, if you want it a little smaller, just do it twice, and pulling a band through. But if you wanted to have that little green stem, take a single green band, wrap it around your hook 3 times, take another green band, single green band, double it onto itself, and pull that through that wrap band. Now you take a single red band, pull it through, Set that aside. Now you take 3 of your red bands, wrap it around your hook twice, save a little ball. Now take one end of that red band on with the green stem, pull it through. Now hold down that red band, the one that's going through those cherry bands, and just place your hook through any of the ridges and take the other end of that band connected to the stem and pull it through. So you have your little cherry or mini strawberry with a green stem. Now take a single glass band or whatever band you're using for your rim and just place it through and set that aside for later. We'll be using our regular loom. If you could remove your center row and have your remaining 2 rows facing on opposite directions. My front row is facing to the right and my back row is facing to the left. You can see that my base has marked off an area which I'm going to use. We will be only working with 8 pegs, 4 pegs on each side. So I'm going to get my drink color, and usually I would be using one color all throughout, but I'm trying to use up some loose bands, so I'll be mixing my colors for this drink. So you take 2 bands, put them down here, take a single band, wrap it around that peg twice as a cap band for those 2 bands. Put your hook through, pick up the lower 2 bands, and loop it onto itself. Now pick up that cap band, take another 2 of your drink bands, put it down the other side, put that cap band over. Now loop up those 2 and remove your cap band. Now I'm going to place my hook through that center cap band, take another 2 bands, pull it through the center, place one end on one peg of one side and the other end over it. I'm going to do the same thing for 2 more pegs on this side. Hook through, 2 bands, pull it through, one end on a peg on one side, and one last for that side. Hook through, pull that 2 bands through and loop it on to that peg. So 4 pegs down. Let's do 3 more pegs on this side. Hook through the center, pull 2 bands through, is it there? Another 2 bands, pull through the center, place one end on the peg this side. Now 1 more peg, pull 2 bands through, place one end on that peg and just fold the other or loop the other end onto itself. So that's our starting point. Now we're going to lay down drink colored bands. Lay them on top first, on the top and the bottom first before the sides. This is the first round. Sides. Now we're just gonna loop all the lower bands up and over. Now for the second round, on these 8 pegs, again, lay them down on the tops or the bottoms first before your sides. Please feel free to pause the video at any time in case you need to catch up. Third round. For those who are mixing colors in, you can start blending if you're going to start moving on to your darker shades. But you don't need to have 2 colors. I'm just doing it because I'm using up my bands. So now we start our 4th round. So we finished 4 rounds on 8 pegs, and we're now going to decrease from 8 pegs to 6 pegs. So let's decrease on this peg. And if you laid them out with the sides last, the top 2 pegs, the top 2 bands here should be this band. Pick up those 2 bands and place it here. Pick up the lower 2 bands, place it here. Let's do the same on this peg. Top 2 bands should be this one. So we place that here. Place the lower 2 here. So let's do our bands for 6 pegs, the top and the bottom first. 2 bands, top, 2 bands below, and 2 bands on the side. Now when you lift the lower bands up and over, the corner pegs should have 6 to bring up and over, while the center pegs should only have 4. One more round on the 6 pegs, 2 bands, and lift all the lower 4 bands up and over. So before we do one more decrease, we're going to push this up because it might be too hard to decrease later on. Now we're going to decrease on these 2 extended pegs. Take the upper 2 bands, which should be this side band, place it here. Lower 2, place it here. Upper 2 bands should be the side band, so place it here. Lower 2, place it there. So on 4 pegs, we're going to have 2 rounds of double bands. So 2 bands, 2 bands. Another 2 here, the sides. Bring all the lower 6 bands up and over. One last round on these 4 pegs, 2 bands, 2 bands. So that's basically done for the body portion. So before we move on to the stem, we're going to attach our rim. Now if you look at the top portion, we will be working with these ridges, this line of ridges. Now you take your hook, put it in that first ridge, single glass band, pull it through, and create a slip knot. Now put your hook back in that same glass, in that same ridge. Take another glass band, pull it through, place the other end on your hook. So you see 3 bands on your hook. Now you take the band closest to the hook end and you pull that through those back 2 bands. Now go to the next ridge, put your hook through, single glass band, pull it through, place the other end on your hook, 3 bands on your hook, take that band closest to your hook and pull it through the back 2 bands, and then go back through that same ridge, single glass band, pull through, and same process, that band closest to the hook goes through the back 2. So you're going to go through each ridge twice. Do that all throughout. Next ridge, single band through, front goes through the back 2, go back in the same ridge, single band, next ridge, single band, pull that through the back 2, go back in, pull it through, the next, oops, back through, next one, go back through, and on our last ridge, go back through, okay, so before we close this, we're going to get our attachments, and first I'm just going to take this last one and put it through that first chain, So you have 3 bands on your hook from the first chain and the last single band that you placed. And take one of your garnish attachments, take that glass band attached to it, one end, pull it through. Then if you can just place your hook through any portion of the glass and pick up the other side of that glass band attached to your garnish and pull that through. So you have both ends of your garnish on your hook, one through the other side, and I'm just going to create a slip knot so I only have one band left on my hook. So one garnish in. Now I'm going to stick my hook through another portion on top. Now I'm going to attach my wedge. Pull one side of that wedge through and through that clear band that you have on your hook. And take the other end and there. So you have both ends of the glass band that was used to hold your orange wedge. Now you're just gonna tie that off with another band. A single clear band and just tie that off. You can just hide the tail by just weaving it through inside. You can twirl it around or just stick it in and hide it inside. So that's our rim portion. Now we can move down to the stem. So for the stem, we're currently on 4 pegs and we're going to decrease to 3 pegs. So take the top 2 from this peg, which is this line, place that here. Take this bottom 2 and place it here. So we're on 3 pegs. Now you take 2 clear bands, go around, 2 clear bands and go around, another 2, another 2, lift all the lower bands up and over so you're left with just those clear bands that you placed on these 3 pegs. This is the first round on the 3 pegs. We're going to need 5 rounds of double clear bands on the 3 pegs. This is round 2. It's round 3. Fourth round. Last, the 5th round. So after the 5 rounds, we're going to do one last round of single bands on these 3 pegs. Then just lift all the lower bands, and you're left with 2 rounds on each peg. So we're going to close this off now. Smoothen the bands on the pegs. Start by going to this peg, place your hook through, pick up the lower band from the inside, and bring it over here. Hook through, push back those upper 2 bands, pick up the lowest band, and bring it here. Hook through, push back those upper 2, lowest band, bring it here. And the last, there's only 1 band to pick up under. Bring it to your starting point. Now place your hook through, single glass band, pull it through, and tie this off in a slip knot. You can help this off the loom. Final step, we're going to be attaching the base of our glass. So you have your tail where you tied it off sticking out, and we're going to hide that first. So get your hook. You can use a crochet hook or your loom hook. Just go anywhere in the middle of your stem, pull it up in the center, grab that tail, and pull it through to hide it. On the last portion of our stem, there are 3 ridges made out of the single bands that we placed. I'm sorry, I should have used a different color, but you have 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and that's what we'll be using to attach the base. So place your hook through that first ridge, take 2 bands, pull it through, and create a slip knot. Now go back through that same ridge, pull another 2 bands through, Now you have 6 bands on your hook. Now you take the first 2 closest to the hook and you're going to pull those 2 through the back 4. So we finished with one ridge. Let's go to the next one. Put your hook through the next. Pull 2 bands through. 6 bands on your hook. Pull that front 2 through the back 4. Go back in that same ridge. Two bands. Pull that front 2 through that back 4. Now we go to the last ridge and do the same thing. 2 bands. Front 2 gets pulled through the back 4. One last time, go through that same ridge. Two bands. Front 2. Pull those front 2 back through the back 4. So you should have it looking this way. Now put your hook through that first chain. Take a single glass band, pull it through, and create a slip knot. Now we're going to go to round 2. So if you look at your bottom from the top, there should be 6 chains. And we're just going to do the same thing but using single bands. And when you go through each chain, you take the outermost portion. So you put your hook through, like this is the first chain, put your hook through that, place your hook through the outermost portion of that chain, single band, pull through, then there are 3 bands on your hook. Take that first band closest to your hook end and pull it through the back 2. And it's the same process with single bands. Do it twice on each chain. Go through the chain again, single band, okay, now the next chain, outermost portion, hook through, that front band goes to the through the back 2, go through again, front goes through the back 2, next chain, just make sure I'm taking the right chain, yeah. It's the next, go through that same chain, next chain, Go through the same chain. Next chain. One more time on that same chain. And we're finished with this. You're just gonna have to attach it to that first portion again. Go through your first chain. And let's just tie this off, the slip knot. And if you're gonna hide the tail, better to hide it on top. So I'm gonna hide it somewhere here. Just take this portion. Just adjust the skirt or the base of the glass a bit. And that's it. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your mini Loom mimosas.